Hello, welcome to my conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed the role play video. Um, and so basically, this is just a quick summary and wrap up. So, in my role play, my client came in. She is basically struggling with depression. She had 5 kids by and from previous relationships, she had 5 kids. Every time she got pregnant, the guys kind of just left. And she currently has a guy that is willing to give her everything. He came into her life. She basically expressed that he's taking on the responsibility of being a father to the children that are not his. He's also taking on a responsibility of helping her meet their needs and meet her needs. Um, and at this point, they've been going out for a while, and he's actually proposed to her. So now they're engaged to get married. They're planning for a wedding, and oh no, she's pregnant. Um, and while they were planning to have a family and start a family, he wanted to have kids and everything. She can't help but associate it with her previous experiences, which, in short, it was just she had a guy. He was a great guy. She got pregnant, and he left. So she was pretty much just jumping straight from "I'm pregnant, he's gonna leave." So what I did is I attempted to use cognitive behavioral therapy to help her address this depression. Um, and in short, I try to be as basic and as simple as possible. Um, I went with ex- I did not explain. I'm sorry, I did not explain what the therapy was that she was gonna be. I didn't tell her what the intervention method was. Instead, I just try to get her to participate in it, and that was pretty much how I got her to um, do what I needed to do. I mean, I attempted to tell her what the therapy was, but I found that she kind of got a little bit lost in trying to understand what the intervention was versus actually actively participating in the intervention. Um, So in short, I just try to use the positive thoughts that she had about this guy and moving forward and how much progress they've already made to counteract the negative thoughts that she was having about him just leaving. Uh, and what I found was very difficult is it's very hard to actually really use the therapy. I found it very difficult because, and I mean, in this case, it was a video and it was a mock session, so I had a lot more control, even though it was a very tight, small amount of time. I feel like sometimes it can take a while for clients to actually buy into what a therapist or a social worker is, trying to sell them, the positive outlooks, especially with cognitive behavioral therapy. Um, Trying to get a person to change their way of thinking, I don't think that that can happen in a single session. I feel like that's something that would take multiple sessions because first and foremost, the therapist is going to have to gain the trust of the client. Um, which I feel like I don't feel like I actually had a chance to really gain her trust. I didn't build a relationship with her. I actually felt like it was rushed, which it was, but I tried to do the best that I could. Um, and I mean, again, this is a mock trial, so she was really responding and reacting the way that I had asked her to. However, I also understand that in a real setting, that wouldn't be the case. It might be 2 or 3 weeks before, or 2 or 3 sessions, 4 or 5 sessions before somebody they feel like they really can trust you. They might do, I don't know, things that counteract what you're trying to, help them with. So I feel like it's definitely something that, or I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me rephrase that. I feel that the amount of time was something that was very it was complicated. It made it more difficult. But also, I learned that reading a book and applying the concept to something is kind of that's black and white. It's very simple. Um, Once you get the concept of something, you can pretty much apply it to all of these different situations. But I did find it very difficult to actually mobilize the information that I already know. And then on top of this, I've seen or I've reviewed in this class. I reviewed the information, of successful trials and successful studies and research that actually, prove that this method of therapy has been successful, fairly successful, and resulted in, exactly what the researchers wanted it to result in. However, when I tried to, practice it myself, I felt a little uncertain, and then on top of that, I couldn't figure out if I should tell her directly that, okay, well, let's try this intervention, or if I should just, kind of pull her into it and see how she likes it. Because I didn't feel like, or I don't feel like cognitive behavioral therapy is very difficult. But in the same token, I also feel like for each person is different. So one person, you may need to explain, some people, they don't want to participate in something they don't understand or they're not aware of. But I also know that some people will reject something when you explain to them and what it's supposed to be. They'll reject it if they don't understand it or if they don't agree with it. So the road that I took was I tried to get her to participate in the type of therapy without actually telling her what it was. And in the end, after saying it, or allowing her to say it over and over and over again, I felt like she finally understood. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe he is gonna do the right thing. Um, and I find that in this particular case, I feel like repetition was something that it helps. Um, and even in my own personal self, I feel like repetition helps. You got a negative thought about something. Oh no, I'm a fellow test or something like that. And then somebody comes along and give you a little pep talk, and it's like, oh no, I can do it. You can do it. Yes, I can. I can do it. Even the locomotive song. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I feel like that is really, to me, it resonated strong in cognitive behavioral therapy. I felt like that is what made it, very, or that's what makes it good. Because it's kind of like, it's that saying, like, if you tell somebody something so many times and they're like, are you saying it for me or for yourself? I feel like that is what ultimately helped the client in this case. She kept saying it. I would reiterate it or rephrase it and clarify to, get all the, you know, I guess I call it the extras, get all the extras out and, strip it down to the bones. And it was really simple. In this case, the fiance was a great father and he was a great significant other. And that's what I wanted her to see. And that's what I wanted her to understand. And, planning for your wedding. You planning for a wedding. You planning for a wedding. You planning for a future. Um, and that's the road that I try to get her to stay on. Um, Now, I would like to apologize for my video being small. I accidentally recorded it and the screen because I was looking to refresh. And I'm sorry. I do apologize, but I also feel like the information is in the video. It might be an eyesore, so just plug me in and don't look don't look at us because we weren't making that many faces or it wasn't a lot of body language going on. Um, but I do wish I had more of a chance to build a relationship. I feel like that's one of my strengths. I connect to people. I don't feel like I had the time to do that in this mock session. Um, so I feel like if I was able to do that, that would have made all the difference in the world. However, this was a fun experience, and I understand that I need to practice. You know, even if it's just practicing the trials that I've read about, But it was fairly difficult, putting all of that stuff into play. And I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to view this video. Please comment. And again, I apologize one last time for my video being a little small square. But again, the content is there, and you can actually hear us pretty good. I felt like you would hear us pretty good. Please let me know if the audio is messed up, and I'll see if I can fix it. But other than that, it's been a pleasure working with everyone, and best of luck.